Welcome, flip clock fans. It's time for a good old-fashioned restoration video. We're going to look at this clock radio and see if I can't get it going again. The radio itself does work. So the radio works. It's probably just got a little bitty speaker in here. The alarm goes off just to radio. And it has a snooze button. Okay, so this is a Realistic Chronomatic 106. Realistic is a RadioShack brand. The clock radio is made in Taiwan. And it's got a real small circuit diagram there. I'm not sure who could read that. It was shown in the newspapers from about 1973 when seems like they settled on a price of about $39.95. And then by 1977, which is last hurrah, they had a big push, but it was going for $19.95 at that point. So 1977, what was going on in 1977? Well, the Space Shuttle program was just getting lifted off. I don't know if you were alive back then, but they had piggybacked that Space Shuttle Enterprise on the top of a Boeing 747. What about this thing? Well, you can see that it's a little foggy here, so we're going to have to disassemble. The motor, the clock motor is not working. The radio is working, so we're going to get into here and see what we can see. I don't think I've ever had one of these open. If I have, I don't remember. And it looks pretty basic. I'm just going to have to take some screws off here. I kind of like this clock when I saw it. I got it real cheap because it wasn't working, but I like the look here. The chrome, a little black, and then this, it looks kind of military to me, kind of drab olive or whatever. I really like that look. There is one on eBay as I make this video. I assume it is working, and it's priced very reasonably. So if you're into history of RadioShack, I remember that place in its heyday, probably right around 77. It was kind of, well, they did have some stereo equipment and stuff like that, but the little shops that I would go into, they were kind of nerdy shops. They had all electrical components. They had little kits and stuff where you could build your own radios and stuff like that, but a lot of electrical components. Alright, basic little 32 ohm speaker, 0.63 watts. Fairly clean for a clock of this age. We have a copal motor, which is good. Let's see what we got going on there. Started right up. Making a little bit of noise though. So it started right up. Now I'll need to get this off because I want to get that smoky look off from behind there. So I don't think it's going to be complicated. Making a bit of noise there. The gearbox may be in rough shape. May need oil down in there. We'll see. We'll see. I'll oil that up. We'll make sure this is working. And again, see how hard it is to get this off. All right then. I guess I didn't look. I'd assumed that this wasn't working. But it does work, and all it does is it just pushes through here. So I just got to push that back through here. So to get off the faceplate, there were 3 screws. You did have to remove the mechanism. Then after you unscrew it and screw it from the bottom, it just finagle it out. And then you have to remove this circuit board. Now those screws there along the inside here, don't mess with those. Those have well, you can mess with them if you want. It won't do no good. They have nuts on the other side, so there's no reason to do that. It'll feel like this doesn't want to come out. You have like 3 or 4 screws on the board to remove, but it'll finagle its way out. It's just kind of sticking. It's a string tuner, and like I said, everything's clean. The capacitors don't look damaged. You know it runs good. So I'll probably blow this out a little bit. Get this motor oiled. Alright, any kind of light oil. You may have seen this, maybe you've seen it hundreds of times, but we're just going to drop it down there. So what's going on is you're aiming for the area between the can that spins and the rest of the motor. After I get that oiled up, well, getting sloppy. After I get that oiled up really good, I'm going to let that run. Let that oil work in there. So we're just going to let that oil work in there and see if that noise don't go away. Being sloppy. It's got to go between this and the rest of the part of the motor, where the winding is. Talked about this before. There is no bearings in there. There's no ball bearings. The only moving part is a rod that goes from here through here into here where the gears are. The rod goes through a bushing. It's supposed to have oil in it, and it's called an oil bearing or oil bushing. What I'm doing here is pulsing it up and down. That tries to help get oil back down in there. And then after a while, that should get down in there and probably stop this noise. We don't want to be in a hurry. Back in the old days, we used to talk about get it broke loose, because see, it's still sticky. Without getting it broke loose with alcohol, well, don't do that. Just be patient. You can already hear just in the time this is all live. It's already stopped making that noise. And you see I stop it. It starts right back right away. So that was pretty quick. So probably what I'm going to do is let that, in this kind of tilted angle, let that work for a while. Drop some more oil down in there. Get that well oiled. And make sure that it'll do that. As soon as I release, it should start up right away. Well, that was good. That's what you want to see when you're working on clocks. It doesn't always happen. Sometimes there's other problems. Sometimes this will turn, the clock's not flipping. That means there's problems with your gears in the gearbox. It's a whole nother story. Okay, so we're going to clean up this front piece. The thing I like to use for that is Windex. The problem is ammonia. Strong ammonia will take the chrome off. So if you use Windex, you see how filthy that is? If you use Windex, you got to make sure you rinse it real clear. Soap and water is probably the best and safest thing for this. We're going to wash this up and then blow this out a little bit. Make sure this continues to run as good as it is. And let that sit for a while. And then get it all back together. All right, there it is. It's all cleaned up and ready to go. The Realistic Chronomatic 106. Turned out pretty good. The sound's good. It cleans up nice. Not a bad flip clock radio if you're just getting into this stuff. Well, thanks for taking the time.
Nose-gear touchdown. Having fired the imagination of a generation, a ship like no other, its place in history secured, the space shuttle pulls into port for the last time. Its voyage at an end.